A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon keep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
When Alex became a god, he thought he would have no problems at all. Until... He landed in the Divine Dimension and was tasked with protecting the entire multiverse.
Am I connected to every single Alex Ambrose that ever existed?
Alex could travel across dimensions, defying the laws of time and space, to help other Alexes throughout the multiverse. But then everything changed.
No! Aw!
I have to go back and save them.
But if Alex went back to the mortal world, he would relinquish all of his power and his memories.
I don't have a choice. I must go back.
When Alex returned back to Earth, he goes back to being your average business tycoon millionaire, unaware that the people he cared most about are in danger.
Aw! Someone help me!
Yvonne, what happened?
I was attacked by a monster. Alex? What's going on? Get away from him! He is my boyfriend!
Who attacked Yvonne in the forest? What will Debbie do next? Who will Alex choose between the two women? Will Alex ever remember who he was before traveling into a different multiverse? To hear what happens next and whether Alex can stop the deranged monster before he strikes again, listen to the original audio drama, Insta Millionaire Returns, only on Pocket FM. Download the app now and find out.
Presentation. Well, the boys are back together here on Thursday night. It's the long-awaited two-man booth return here on Turn 200 and a long-awaited return trip to 1.5 miles. It feels like it's been forever, even though we had one just a couple of weeks ago. Max V CNC Home Design's Truck Series back to life here tonight on Thursday night at Kansas Speedway. The lights are going down and the action is heating up. Welcome back to Turn 200. It's Tommy Cook and Matt Williamson. We're back. Finally, we've been playing phone tag here the last few streams, but finally a two-man booth once again tonight.
Yep, good to be back here together. Both have had many things going on in life, but all good things. And but excited to finally be back and should be back together, I think, for the long haul here, at least for a while.
Yeah, I would say so, unless you got something coming up that I don't know about, but we'll figure that out. Anyways, yeah, back to it here tonight with the Max V Trucks. They always put on a spectacular show at the 1.5 miles, and that is no different than what we got here tonight. It's always pack racing to start out. If we get long green flag runs, it'll break this field up. We'll see who came to play here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Qualifying is underway. You didn't get to see the action last week at Dover. It was a pretty interesting race with, dare I say, an expected outcome with Justin Michael picking up his second victory of the season. But drop race is coming into effect here into this week's point standings.
Yeah, definitely. I told you last week when I was going to be gone that I felt like Dover is a place that Justin Michael can really show his prowess. That's just a place that it seems like he's very good at, and sure enough, he did it again. But yeah, drop week's coming into effect. Of course, still a long ways to go here. So, I mean, we have plenty of time left for this all to change. But looking at the graphic, Andrew Schulte still atop the points lead here. Rob Haynes only 20 points behind. The gap was a little bit more here after a couple weeks ago, but Rob Haynes still right there. Of course, I think Justin Michael, that's going to be the big mover here, of course, after the win last week. Jumps up to third, I believe was in sixth before last week, so that's a big jump for him. Heath Smith, Charlie Widener round out the top five there. So, yeah, and the rest of them, of course, Johnny Hamby, Michael Milfelt, Greg Mall, Will Kirk, and Scott Patton tied for ninth there to kind of round out your top 10. But big stories, Rob Haynes getting a little bit closer there to Andrew Schulte, and Justin Michael, he has really inserted himself into the fight.
Yeah, I was going to say, we get 3 drop races here for the 26 races. So basically, your 3 worst races, assuming you start all 26 in the regular season here, aren't going to count. So Justin Michael, despite the successes he has had this season, I mean, he's had some pretty poor results by his own standards, and really just overall has had some pretty wretched luck in the first 10 races this season. So he has a lot of numbers he's looking to drop. As soon as those numbers go, he may be in it for the points lead here. I mean, that gap has already closed up tremendously in the last couple of weeks. As has the lead up to Andrew Schulte, who is just disconnected from the session with 1 minute and 20 seconds left to go in qualifying. Justin Michael right now provisionally on the pole as we're watching James Lehman out on track, looking to take himself to the top spot here. And I don't believe he has done that. He's a 31-1, and that is only 23rd quickest out of the 23 drivers that have set a time this far.
Yeah, still has one more lap to go here, so maybe was setting up the second lap there with the first one.
Jack Watts also on track. He's looking to come to the checkered flag here. 16th quickest overall right now. And I don't believe he went faster, so he'll stay 16th unless James Lehman has something to say about it. And I'll say he has something to say about it. How about that? P1 for Lehman.
Yeah, definitely use that first lap to set up the second quite well. Yeah, getting the pole here. That's going to be huge. Track position is a big deal here at these 1.5 mile tracks in the trucks.
Zachary Groover was a big week for him last week. He played a strategy play. It netted him a top 10, an outstanding first top 10 of the season for Zachary Groover. He is out on track right now. Unfortunately, didn't post a lap his first time around. It is not going to make it back around in time to actually post his second lap time. So Groover is going to be starting deep in this 28 truck field here tonight. But we are under the lights here at Kansas Speedway. All things are right in the heartland of America. Max Fee, CNC Home Designs Truck Series, roaring back to life here on a Thursday night. James Lehman with another pole. I think it's his third of the season. Outstanding work by driver number 50, Justin Michael, last week's winner, looking for win number 3 on the season on the outside of the front row. It's Will Kirk and Andrew Schulte here on row number 2. The points leader, the reigning series champion, starting in 4th. Mike Milfelt doing a nice job thus far this season. He's on a run of some pretty good finishes of late. He will start in the 5th position. Matt Burkhart is back at a top 10 starting position, starting P6. Brennan Gregg and Riley Tilton, 2 of the drivers we're looking for big things out of as this season rolls along. They start on row number 4. Johnny Hamby got a win last night, finally, on Wednesday night competition here on Turn 200. He starts tonight. Scott Patton tied for 9th in the points, 10th on the starting grid here tonight. Matthew Altenbolt, Wally Terheimer on row number 6. It's Matt Schlosser back for his second go-around in Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series competition. Starting at 13th, Jacob Gibson will line up on the outside of row number 7. Heath Smith deep in the field here starting in P15. Kerry Cleaver to his outside in 16th. Jack Watts back in the starting lineup tonight in 17th. Greg Mall deep in the field here as well in 18th. Charlie Widener deep in the field as well in 19th. And Chris Surgent will round out your top 20. Chris Boyles and Ryan McRoberts on row number 11. It's Frank Reese and Kyle Manos then on row number 12. Matt Sisseler and Bill Paradise. Actually, scratch that. It's Bill Paradise and Brad Slagle on row number 13. Michael Van, Zachary Groover on row 14, and Matt Sisseler. 29 drivers, actually, in the field here tonight for Kansas Speedway. Johnny Hamby just had an upload packet loss. Hopefully we can get him back into the 9th position on the starting grid here before this one gets rolling at Kansas. In the meantime, Matt Williamson, some track conditions here under the lights at Kansas Speedway, and what are these drivers looking for here tonight?
Ultra cool track conditions here as the nighttime is going to be upon us. As we roll along in this race, 68 degrees is the track temperature. Only 3 miles an hour for the wind speed, so wind's not going to really affect them. Going to be plenty of grip out there on the track. We can see a lot of pack-style racing early on here. We got 108 laps here tonight. No fast repairs. They do get 4 extra sets of tires. Not that we're going to need them. As far as fuel capacity goes, we are at 70%. Should be 35, 40 laps. Maybe be able to stretch it a little bit farther. But it's going to be somewhere around that point. Regardless, it's going to be a 2-stop race here for the drivers. And if we can keep things clean and green, it could end up getting pretty spread out here.
It usually does. Great pack-style racing here at Kansas to open these races up. And then after that first green flag pit stop, it will certainly spread things out a little bit more if we stay green. For those of you who maybe remember last season's race here, it started with a huge pileup before most of the field even made it across the line to take the green flag. So we'll look to avoid a similar fate here tonight. Justin Michael would like a similar fate to what he had here last season. He picked up his 3rd victory of the season last year here at Kansas and wants to pick up his 3rd victory of this season here tonight as well. James Lehman, Justin Michael in the front row. We're racing here in the heartland of America. Scott Patton will move to the bottom further back. Up front, it's Lehman up front. Will Kirk challenging for 2nd. Justin Michael, the usual modus operandi, backing up here early, saving these tires. Bringing them up gently.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit careful doing that here because it is a little bit packy early on to start. You don't want to get yourself too far behind the 8 ball. There goes Scott Patton looking 3 wide underneath onto the apron.
Never a good feeling to be on the apron and have somebody underneath you. That was Brendan Craig that had to yield. Boy, Matt Burkhardt just behind him got awfully close to that wall there through 1 and 2.
I don't think he got close. I think he got into it, but minimal contact, was able to keep going, but loses quite a bit of momentum. I think Matt Montalbot might be able to get through there on the bottom.
Justin Michael continued to drop back here as Lehman, Kirk, or rather Will Kirk, Michael Milfeld, and Scott Patton, your top 3. James Lehman has dropped back here as well. And Riley Tilton just opened the door underneath of the 87 of Justin Michael. He's going to challenge for position now.
Michael got himself stuck in the middle of 3 wide. They're getting it sorted out. Tilton on the bottom. Michael there in the middle. And Brennan Gregg on the top in the 18.
3 wide. Just outside of the top 5. Jacob Gibson trying to stick his nose in the mix here as well. Mike Milfeld kind of searching around to find a way around Will Kirk, but it's not happening yet. Good to see the 9 up front here early.
Yeah, there goes Milfeld. He's been searching. Now going to look to the bottom. Looks like he's clear of the 9. Will Kirk have a run off the top side down the straightaway?
We'll close a little bit, but I don't think enough to challenge here. So move the 155 to the point. Here's Scott Patton lurking in 3rd. Lehman and Tilton now the top 5 as Schulte slid back to 6th.
Lots of different lanes being used here already tonight. Scott Patton going to look underneath of Will Kirk to take 2nd.
Gonna take second, and once more, Patton to the lead with authority here. Will clear up.
Oh, wow. Tight quarters there. Tilton looked like he got a little bit tight there off of turn 4, but keeps it off of everybody else.
We mentioned Justin Michael dropping back early here. It's his usual MO. And to your point, how far is too far? All of a sudden, he is bottled up in traffic, not gaining any time. The stage will come and bail him out, but you don't want to find yourself in trouble before that point.
Yeah, you really don't want to get yourself too buried, but looking to be out of the top 10 here and still letting drivers come through. I mean, you're still going to have to work through some traffic, even if you save the tire. I mean, it's just, it's going to be tough sledding maybe here. Oh, Heath Smith and Andrew Schulte just about got together underneath of him.
Well, we talk about exciting drivers in this field. One that has been extra exciting of late is Riley Tilton. He just went up and took the lead from Scott Patton. Now Patton is fighting back on the outside here.
Tilton has shown an awful lot of speed here and just keeps getting faster as the season rolls along, it seems like.
No doubt he'll be finding his way to the front of the field more and more as the season rolls along. But up front, duking it out with one of the best, Scott Patton. Just cracked the top 10 of the points a couple of weeks ago, and that's only because he's really missed quite a few races. All of his drop races are going to be basically DNSs for Patton. Tilton with another swing underneath.
Whoa!
Boy.
That was a bumper being used right there.
Yep.
Just letting him know, hey, maybe don't block me too hard here because things could get ugly. But Patton going to use it to his advantage. Might be able to get clear, not quite.
Tilton and Patton for the lead. Will Kirk and Jacob Gibson in the top 5. James Lehman. How about Wally Terheimer up here in P6? Wally's driven up into the top 10. Nearly to the top 5 as we're still duking it out up front.
These top 5 are absolutely going after it right now.
Justin Michael has slipped back to 14th position, by the way, while you're watching all this.
I'm looking at James Lehman right now, wondering if maybe he's just kind of sitting back a little bit. Obviously, not as much as Justin Michael has been. Michael is going backwards, trying to, we're assuming, save tire, but that's a long ways to go. But Lehman has been kind of sitting tight here right behind the group, maybe waiting for his spot a little bit later on here in the run.
Well, we know we have a caution coming out on lap number 32. You have to put yourself in a position to actually challenge for this race win. You know, it's speed there. That was a slider there from Gibson. Hey, look at Matt Schlosser up here now in P7. He's added himself to the top group here.
Yeah, I mean, when we start talking about a stage caution 30% through the race, I mean, that's coming at lap 32, like you said. We can get there on less than one full tank of fuel. I mean, seems to me that you would want to be in go mode here at the beginning of the race.
Well, we'll see. Justin Michael always has a plan, so if he starts throttling his way back through the field there, I wouldn't be surprised in the least. But currently right now sits in the 14th position as Tilton and Patton here are just sliders and trading bumpers.
I thought Tilton was going to get set up the racetrack there for a moment.
I think maybe Tilton thought that as well. Jacob Gibson's probably got a pretty good view of this here from third.
Things a lot more spread out farther back from this group. I thought that these 5-6 trucks battling up here would bring pretty much everybody else to them, but hasn't really seemed to be the case so far.
Tilton and Patton battling for the lead. Gibson, Lehman, Kirk the top 5. Schlosser, Terheimer, Smith, Gregg, and Milfelt the top 10. Justin Michaels moved back up to 13th now, as Jack Watts just had a problem. He's lost 3 positions this lap.
By the way, shout out to everybody in the chat. I don't know if we mentioned anybody. Goodleaf, of course. Sarah cheering on Riley. Michelle Kirk and Marilyn Beck cheering on Will Kirk, who is in a good position right now and trying to hang in here in the top 5.
So if you're wondering, as I was going back through the field, missed what happened to Riley Tilton. He clipped the apron, pushed straight up into the door of Scott Patton, and had to make a save. Everybody's still motoring on here, but that could have been pretty ugly.
Yeah, and he had to get out of the gas and just lost his momentum. I mean, this is a huge momentum track, especially here in the trucks. And if you have to, make a little bit of a save up the racetrack and lose that momentum, you can lose a couple spots in a hurry without really having an on-track incident.
Justin Michael back up into the top 10 now as the pole sitter James Lehman is back and challenging for the lead once again on his teammate Scott Patton. Lehman has to lean out of the throttle there. Coming out of the corner to allow Patton to fight back here on the outside. Now Patton with help behind him. That's the 9 of Will Kirk.
Curious to see when or if the bottom of this racetrack is going to kind of go away. From what I remember, Lehman tried to find a hole and just about got himself turned.
Yep, that hole was not there. Found the front bumper of the 58 instead, and is going to slide right back up in front of him anyway.
From what I remember in the last season, the middle and the top ended up being the place to be at some point in the run. It was just a matter of when.
Lehman pounded the wall there.
Looks like that's starting to be the case. You see everybody trying to get to that top side and putting themselves in the wall trying to get there.
You and I have been a little bit surprised this season with how the mile and a halves have worked here with the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series. The Larson line, Reddick line, whatever you want to call it, up there by the wall has come into play a lot more than we thought it would, especially at Atlanta 2008 when we were there for the second race of the season. That was Justin Michael that has just come on and off pit road here. So that's a big shocker there. He should be in line for the free pass. Nobody's going to go a lap down before this one hits the caution flag. But Michael in some early trouble here.
Whoa, Will Kirk got himself up into the wall a little bit as well. He's going to drop a couple spots, maybe a bunch of spots. We talked about it. Lost that momentum. Is going to lose at least 3, probably 4, maybe even a 5th.
So we're seeing some of these drivers that pushed hard early find problems. Lehman has hit the wall. Matt Burkhardt has hit the wall. Will Kirk has hit the wall. Scott Patton leads. Riley Tilton hits Scott Patton, but not the wall.
Well, a lot of these drivers were running the bottom, and I think they probably practiced the top side in practice, but maybe didn't practice the top side with 20-plus hard racing laps under their belt. It's a totally different animal trying to run up against the wall after you've been into the run for quite a while.
To quote Kyle Zittel, that's the wall, brother. Going to be having to get awfully familiar with it here. It's seeming in the early run to be successful tonight in Kansas. Keith Smith back up into the top 5 here as Lehman and Kirk battling side by side behind him. And Matt Schlosser back up at the top 5. We saw Schlosser up in this position a lot at Martinsville in his series debut a few weeks ago. But this is only his second time out with the boys on Thursday night. And up at the front, once again, one of the Swiss Army men of Turn 200 here. You see him in just about every league now, and he's always a contender.
He's always a contender, and really when we think of Schlosser, we really think about some of his dominant performances on road courses, but that is definitely not his only card up his sleeve. He is darned good at just about any type of oval as well.
Yes, indeed. James Lehman reiterating to the drivers here who are maybe looking to play a little pit strategy that the pits are going to close 2 laps before the stage ends. So on lap 30, pits should be closed when Scott Patton crosses the line. Patton right now with the biggest lead of the race by far, 0.8 of a second, and that is continuing to grow just little by little as Riley Tilton is in second. Jacob Gibson now in the 3rd position, Matt Schlosser in 4th, and James Lehman has gotten back around Heath Smith, who has now just lost another position to Will Kirk. So Kirk back up to 6th, Heath back to 7th. Brendan Gregg now in 8th, Matt Montalbalt and Matt Burkhardt the top 10. I mentioned as well in the starting grid, Johnny Hamby lagged out of the session. Unfortunately, he was never able to return. So Hamby might be out of it here tonight, and this will definitely, hopefully for him, count as one of his drop races. Here comes Wally Turheimer to pit road.
Yeah, looks like Turheimer got up into the wall. Not sure if it was meatball damage or really heavy damage. I could only see the right side of the truck, and it looked like obvious damage, but didn't look too bad. So I don't know, maybe trying to... well, he's going to go a lap down trying to flip the stage. I don't know. Definitely some sort of a problem there for Wally.
Definitely a problem for Wally. That is definitely right side damage. No meatball. But to mention as well, Andrew Schultz is back at the 25th position right now. Kerry Cleaver is coming down pit road this time. I think... I don't know what I think at this point. If we're just trying to play some pit strategy or if we're really just cooking these tires here. It's not usually that much of an issue, but apparently it is, because here comes Scott Patton from the lead.
Unless we
Patton to pit road.
Somehow missed the fuel marker, or maybe the fuel didn't get set correctly. I don't know.
I don't think we missed it by that much. I don't think we missed it by 15 laps. At least I hope not. Otherwise, we're going to have 4 stops and no tires at the end of this race if there's a caution that's going to come out. Well, we're going to get more and more people coming down pit road this time, so I think Justin Michael may have played this excellently with the early stop deep in traffic here. I believe Jacob Gibson is pitting right now, so is Riley Tilton from the lead. Will Kirk coming in, Matt Montenbalt as well. So we are flipping the stage here. We'll give the lead now to James Lehman, Matt Schlosser, and Brendan Gregg, the top 3. Bill Paradise in the top 10 says he's coming down pit road this time. Ryan McRoberts, Chris Sargent, Brad Slagle, Zachary Groover, Kyle Manos, all down pit road. Here comes Brendan Gregg.
So that's at least half the field, if not over half the field, down pit road at this point.
Matt Sisler and then Bill Paradise, the aforementioned, down pit road. Yeah, that only leaves the top 9, I think, that have yet to pit. Lehman, Schlosser, Burkhardt, Smith, Milfelt, Widener, Watts, Van, and Voiles. Here comes Lehman from the lead. Pits, I think, are closing either this time around or next time around. So if you're going to pit, you need to do it now. There are some drivers in here that definitely need some stage points. Top 10 will pay out. Matt Schlosser on a part-time schedule, not running for him, but Burkhardt, Smith, Milfelt, Widener, all going for it. Here comes Matt Burkhardt.
Milfelt, Watson, Widener all fighting for position. Oh, no! Looked like Watts was going to try to slow down to get down to pit road, but was on the racing surface, and Milfelt gave him a huge shot. I don't know if there was miscommunication or what happened there, but Watts was going to try and get down pit road, and now we'll have to stay out and lose a bunch of positions probably.
Matt Schlosser with the lead. Heath Smith, Charlie Widener, Mike Milfelt, Chris Voiles have yet to pit. And this is white flag for stage, I do believe. Of the drivers who have pit, only Justin Michael and Scott Patton right now are going to be on the lead lap. Greg Mull might make it to Matt Schlosser by the end of this lap. It's going to be awfully close, though, so a lot of waiver rounds incoming.
Yeah, I see Mull coming into frame there and definitely going to get past Schlosser, excuse me. Wow, you are right. I mean, the tires just wore out completely here, quickly.
I think Schlosser is out of fuel. Matt Schlosser definitely does not have fuel right now, and here goes Heath Smith motoring on by.
Wow. And no caution.
No caution. Yet. So they must have moved the stage to lap 33. Because Heath Smith is now seeming to be either saving fuel or is out of fuel.
It's like Widener coming down Or is at least slow. There's the caution.
There's the caution.
Wow, that
Interesting.
was a wild opening stretch to this race.
So Heath Smith with the stage victory. But will he have enough gas to make it back to pit road? That was a bizarre opening stretch. So I'd say fuel window 32 laps, if you ask Matt Schlosser.
Yeah, I would say so. Wow. Oh no!
Whoa,
Somebody
what? Just that was Brad Slagle piled into Charlie Widener. He said his cat jumped up in front of his monitor. Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
I'm sure Charlie is not happy about that.
No, I would imagine not so.
Well, here comes everybody that survived that. I think we ended up with 15 trucks on the lead lap. Everybody that's a lap down should be able to take a wave around unless they want to come down and get fuel here. Schlosser, I believe, had to tow back to pit road, so he's going to end up, after having to try and stretch it, end up towing back to the pits, which, to be clear, even if the stage caution came out on the lap we thought it was going to come out on lap 32, he still would have run out of fuel under caution and had to have towed back. So that was only a play to try and get the stage win, and it has double backfired, unfortunately, for the 400.
What's interesting, knowing that they were that close on fuel, you got to wonder if Justin Michael was maybe trying to save fuel rather than tires, and dropping back and just realized it wasn't going to be worth it, and decided, I'm just going to come down pit road now and then go as hard as I possibly can for the last 20-ish laps after he came down pit road. That was a wild sequence of events.
Well, I believe he cycled out second amongst everybody that did pit. Andrew Schulte came out ahead of him. And then Scott Patton was next in line. Greg Mall and Will Kirk should be the top 5. And actually, I think they all came down to pit road, or came down to pit since they were on the lead lap anyway. So it will be Heath Smith maintaining control of the lead here. So a nice strategy play from him. He was fringe top 5 for most of that run before everybody started coming down pit road, and he's going to net the lead out of it.
You see a big group of drivers here behind the pace truck that are going to end up having to get their lap back. Kerry Cleaver leads them. And then it's Burkhart, Slagle, McRoberts, Groover, Frank Reese, Bill Paradise. I think Michael Van is here.
Yep.
And I think that's it, because Heath Smith is right in there behind Michael. So
that is 17th through 25th that are technically on the lead lap now, but should go by the pace car this time to catch up to the tail of the field. So kind of an unlucky break for them that Heath Smith elected to stay out. Burkhart with a helping hand there to Kerry Cleaver. Don't want to bump the boss man too much. He knows how to build houses. That means he knows how to knock them down too. So now, Heath Smith and Mike Milfeld, teammates of Highline Racing, up on the front row. James Lehman and now Brennan Gregg will be on row 2. Jacob Gibson and Andrew Schulte on the third row. Justin Michael and Scott Patton, heavy hitters there back on row 4. Matt Monsenbalt and Will Kirk, the top 10 starters here. Greg Mall, Riley Tilton on row number 6. Charlie Widener and Jack Watts on row 7. Matt Sisler and Chris Voiles on row 8. And then it'll be the wave-around truck single file behind them. 4 trucks not on the lead lap currently running. Kyle Manos, Chris Sargent, Wally Turheimer are 1 lap down. Matt Schlosser is 2 laps down back on the track in 28th. Coming to a restart here, lap 38. We could potentially go from green here on out. Will we, though? That's the question. Under the lights here at Kansas Speedway, it's only just getting started. Here with the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series, Heath Smith brings us back to the green. Smith, of course, won the season opener at Daytona, but also won at Chicagoland, the practice race, the week before Daytona as well. So he knows how to do it out here on these mile and a halves. How about that move for James Lehman to get himself back up to second?
Yeah, and a helping hand from Milfelt there as well. Going to get pushed up to the number 1, but this field is getting stacked up in a hurry here in the top 10.
Gibson clipped the apron there, had a big wiggle, thought maybe he was going to go for a ride, but he saves it and keeps his position. Off the front nose here of Justin Michael in the 87. Mike Milfelt between lanes here is going to bottle up this 19, and subsequently the 4-wide battle behind him. Sit off the door, Patton.
Still 4 wide, down into turn 3.
Somebody's got to give. More contact between the 19 and the 46. Michael rolls out of it. He's now in the bottom of 3 wide. Nearly 4 wide again as Heath Smith leads this gaggle.
Oh, Patton and Gibson were not going to lift. Justin Michael ended up giving them the spots.
Schulte up the middle, 3 wide, looking for a 2-for-1 special. Was collapsing, nearly turned Scott Patton. More problems there. Brendan Gregg, that is, bouncing off the wall up top. Somebody's going for a ride if this doesn't get sorted. We've come so close so often to catastrophe here, inches apart at Kansas. Scott Patton, despite... Oh, and that's Brendan Gregg. He absolutely knocked the wall down there into turn number 1. So he is out of the top 10. Scott Patton, despite nearly getting turned there multiple different times, he is in second, but now getting challenged by Mike Milfelt. Schulte and Michael battling hard side by side, with Jacob Gibson right in front of him. That's for 4th. Patton slots back into line in 3rd and has a run now on the 155. Will look to take it down the backstretch as Justin Michael clears Schulte and Gibson to move up to 4th. Oh, and Gibson up the track nearly into the quarter panel of the 87.
When you fight side by side and 3 wide like this for so many laps, it absolutely shreds the tires. And nearly contact. Schulte squeezing Gibson down into Riley Tilton.
And yeah, Tilton, those are 3 guys that don't leave much room out on this track, and they're all here battling together.
I mean, Tilton's all the way down to the white.
Oh, Heath Smith up top has to roll out of it, and that is going to give the lead now to Scott Patton. Patton on the lead for the first time in this green flag run. Smith washed up the track a little bit out of turn 4, and that opens the door for the boss man, Scott Patton of Patented Paints, to go up to P1. Riley Tilton bump drafted Mike Milfelt here as here comes another run for Heath Smith.
Justin Michael has really been using this top side well as well, sitting there in 3rd. He's almost pounced on the top 2 a couple of times here, just setting up that move.
He's in some dirty air, but he's not under fire, so he's saving a little bit of rubber here. And may look to make his mark here. Will swing out to in, but will stay up top with the momentum and push his teammate clear of Heath Smith. Or at least try to here into 3.
And he's trying to get the clean air all the way up by the wall. Patton's running the middle. Heath Smith down on the bottom. Oh, here he goes, all the way to the bottom, from the top to the bottom, down to the apron.
Into the grass, nearly. It's going to work. 2-for-1 special. Justin Michael to the point now. Why do we ever question his methods? Michael back to the lead. He hasn't seen the front of this field since he dropped all the way off the front row at the start of this race, but he's back. Boy, Riley Tilton gave Mike Milfeld a shot there last time by. It sent Milfeld the wrong direction. Tilton now under fire, though, from Schultz.
I mean, the top 11 here, and this is one heck of a group right now.
Give a call to Charlie Widener despite the contact there under the caution. Pretty significant contact at that. He's still hanging with his front group as well. Oh, Smith, that's a lot of squeeze in there. Tilton up the track. He did not have a lot of room to operate with there. Schultz going to try to push the one clear.
Yeah, nobody's wanting to give an inch right now. They know just how important that positioning is going to be once the tires start to fade on them. And then we get right into pit stops after that, seemingly, as well.
I'll tell you this much. The tires are fading. It's already happened. Listening to these tires from the blimp cam, they are screaming for help. These guys are going every which way here at Kansas, coming to lap 49. Patton sizing up his teammate here, and so is Andrew Schultz. We've seen this battle time and time again. The Bandit Motorsports
Whoa, Schultz up the racetrack and nearly put Patton into the wall.
Has to roll out of it. We'll keep the positioning here to the inside, and Justin Michael's got to be loving this. They are forming a zipper up behind him as everybody trying to jockey for position to take a bite out of the leader, but they're going to lose him here if they're not careful. Oh, Smith just got put up into the wall by Riley Tilton.
That's going to slow down that outside line a little bit as well, spread them out.
You talk about momentum and energy. There's a lot less energy being sent up to these contenders now after that shunt from the 58.
I can't tell you how many times a truck in the bottom lane has just about washed up the racetrack and turned somebody at the front of this field. It's happened so many times tonight.
Schultz and Patton watching their teammate drive away here to the beat of about 0.4 of a second. Tilton put the bumper to Schultz there. That's going to upset the 81, and Heath Smith now underneath the 58. Greg Mall, I think, is coming to pit road. And indeed he is. He was running 7th.
So less than 20 laps ran on this run for Greg Mall. And not that many sets of tires. We got 4 sets of tires here tonight. And that'll be a second set used. A bunch of drivers down pit road, and we still have over half the race to go.
Well, if he runs out the tank here on this run, he should be able to get about a 25-lap run to the checkers, if my Illinois math serves me any justice at all.
I don't know.
So,
Common Core has been pretty rough on us.
Oh, boy. My brain core is rotten. Yeah.
And just like that, all of a sudden, the entire top 10 is single file. And literally, I mean, the entire field is now single file, pretty much, after duking it out side by side for 20 laps.
Greg Mall was not the only driver down pit road that time. Ryan McRoberts, Brad Slagle, and Zachary Groover all were also down pit road as well. Greg Mall, the highest running out of those. Tilton and Smith going right back at it here. Tilton with a big run. But Smith on the top side going to keep it up.
Hey, you see what happens to Tilton there? These tires starting to fade. Tilton just cannot hold the power down on the bottom. There's just not enough grip in these tires right now to run that bottom comfortably. There's just not a move to be made. That's why you see a lot of single file right now.
Especially with nobody in front of you running that bottom. But now James Lehman has some lap traffic he can maybe sniff a draft off of down the straights here. Meanwhile, speaking of drafts, here comes Scott Patton roaring to life here. He's cut it to less than a truck length for the lead.
Lehman pays the price there on the bottom. He's going to lose a position. Kerry
Cleaver has come down pit road. Justin Michael going for 2 wins in a row, 2 wins in a row at Kansas, and 3 out of the last 4 wins if he were able to take the checkers here tonight. Frank Reese says he is hitting pit road from the 16th position. So we're drip feeding drivers into pit lane here.
Oh, Brad Slagle has much fresher tires, just nearly turned Andrew Schulte, who kind of threw a block a little bit there.
Slagle wants by. May open the bottom here for Will Kirk to get underneath. Kirk back up into the mix here.
Yeah, Kirk's done a good job of staying in the middle of that group, and then all of a sudden when things went south with the tires, he was right there in position to stay right around the top 5. Track position so important on restarts.
Kirk trapped on the bottom here is Riley Tilton, giving another shot to Heath Smith to make sure he can get clear of the 9 once again. So when will the leaders come to pit road? I think they've got another 10 laps in them, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it'll be close. I mean, comfortably, probably looking at maybe 7 laps more.
Who wants to be comfortable?
None of these drivers live on the edge of uncomfortable. That's what makes them so fast.
Well, Andrew Schulte has a lot to do here if he wants to get himself back a bit of the conversation for the win. He's dropped back nearly 2 seconds behind this race lead after battling there with Smith and Tilton and company.
James Lehman down pit road this last time around.
I was going to say, if you're looking for somebody to shake up pit strategy, look for Schulte and look for Lehman. And now look for Riley Tilton going for another move here to try and get himself back up on the podium. Tilton has to roll out of it, though.
I love the effort from Tilton, still trying to get down low, but you just lose so much momentum. He's in jeopardy of losing a couple positions here trying that move.
Yes, indeed. Still trapped on the bottom here. If he could get himself back in a position down the backstretch here, he may be able to fend off a challenge from Heath Smith. Jack Watts is down pit road.
Here comes Justin Michael.
Justin Michael from the lead. You don't have to worry about getting the undercut triggered if you are the one that triggers it.
And you got to believe everybody else is going to be coming down pit road this time, minus a few that are going to want to push the issue when it comes to strategy.
Scott Patton, we'll see if he elects to answer this time. Heath Smith is coming down this time.
Looks like a no from Scott Patton.
Yep, he's going for it. At this point, why not go for it, even though he was right there on the tire tracks of Justin Michael. You're not going to beat him if you do the same thing as him. At least from a historical standpoint. A lot of drivers down pit road this time, though. Michael Van, Will Kirk, Heath Smith, Jacob Gibson, Matt Burkhart, Kyle Manos, Bill Paradise. And Patton up top here through 3 and 4 again. Doesn't look like he's coming in.
Patton's going to try and stretch this thing out as long as possible. Riley Tilton down pit road this time around. It looks like everybody else stays out that has not come down yet, but that's only a select few.
You know, if the caution were to come out right now, he's got Justin Michael trapped a lap down. Crazier things have happened.
Yeah, I gotta believe Patton was right on the heels of Michael. I don't think he would bank on just trying to hope for a caution. So there's got to be a benefit to the strategy that he sees that we just aren't aware of or not able to see at the moment, because to me, you would want to try and stick to the same strategy if you're sticking right there with them. But of course, Patton, a much smarter race car driver than me.
You and me both. Matt Sisseler, Matt Montenbolt are on pit road. Waiting stops from Patton, Schultz, Milfelt, Widener, Voiles, and Greg.
Gotta believe we're getting close on fuel. Scott Patton was down pit road on lap 34 when the caution flew for the stage break. And we are now at that 32 lap marker for fuel, and that is when we saw Schlosser run out.
A couple of benefits, or a couple of laps of cautions thrown in the mix there as well. But yeah, you're right. I would imagine Scott Patton's coming down this time.
Gonna go around one more time.
Chris Voiles from the top 5 says he's coming down this time. Charlie Widener coming in as well. Oh, Chris Voiles slides it through pit road entry, and he's going to pick up a speeding penalty.
Patton still on the top right now. Nope, here he comes.
Up, he's slowing down. Patton from the lead in. Schulte goes by. Milfelt goes by. Charlie Widener is in.
Schulte going to lead a lap there. And I would imagine would have to be coming down pit road this time.
No Rob Haynes here tonight. Of course, he hasn't missed a race here this season, so he's got a little bit of leeway. Schulte, a conservative entry there compared to the 155. Mike Milfelt got 2 or 3 truck lengths on him there. Nicely done. Now we wait with bated breath to see how everything is going to shake out. Justin Michael is already past Scott Patton here. Nearly the entire length of the backstretch. It'll be Greg Mall right now who has cycled out to the lead once it's all said and done. But he has much older tires than Justin Michael. That gap is closing pretty quickly.
Yeah, Mall has nearly run 20 laps already on that set of tires. Came in uber early.
Speaking of Greg's, it's Brennan Gregg with the lead right now, but he is pitting this time. I'm surprised he made it this far.
The difference in tire and fuel strategy for Patton and Michael is 6 laps. Justin Michael down pit road lap 61. Got Patton stretched it to lap 67. And a few others came in between them as well. So lots of different... Oh, and Patton actually got up into the wall a little bit there, it looked like, on entry into 1.
Yeah, Patton's back in, 7th position right now with a ton of time to make up here and a ton of positions to make up as well. No doubt the fresher tires are definitely going to net him some of those spots, but I'm not sure if he'll be in contention for the win here without some intervention from race control.
Well, this is Patton right here. Much fresher tires. Going to get around Watts on the bottom and then looking for Smith ahead of them as well.
Just clocked the purple lap of the session that time around. No doubt he is zipping around Kansas Speedway. As for the lead now, here comes Justin Michael with 20-lap fresher tires. Then Greg Mall, no contest to move the 87 back to the point.
Easy work there for Michael, but has to keep his head down here. Patton around Smith. The next up is Will Kirk right here in line as well.
Well, he's got about 5 seconds to catch up to Justin Michael. But he is going 4 to 6/10 a second, or 4 to 10. Holy cow, 4 to 6/10 of a second quicker per lap than the race leader.
Got there.
You believe I get paid to do this? I don't.
Well, iron sharpens iron and man sharpens man, and unfortunately you don't have that great of a broadcast partner here in the sim world. So
I didn't take shop class.
What was that?
I didn't take shop class.
Oh, I see.
I don't know how to sharpen iron.
take my word for it.
Okay.
Kirk has been able to hang around here with Patton pretty good after Patton was able to get around Kirk. Kirk was kind of falling back towards Smith and Watts, but now a little bit of help from the 46.
And Patton closing on the lead overall, but still needs to get it within 0.3 to get back to where he was, and he is 4 seconds off the lead right now, back in the 4th position.
Haven't talked much about James Lehman here after the pit cycle either. Lehman sits in 3rd. Came in a couple laps earlier than Justin Michael, but is going to be able to make the move here on Maul pretty quickly. But has Scott Patton really closing in on him fast.
There goes the Lehman to 2nd. Band of boys all together here, 1 through 4. Patton is going to split 3 wide.
Did not go!
Oh boy! Oh my!
That was almost disaster. I thought Patton was just going to push Lehman in front of Greg Maul and then go underneath the Lehman there into turn 3, but opted to push Maul instead on the outside and then split the uprights.
That was sheet metal sharpening sheet metal there. But it was a sharp move, no doubt about it. It gets Scott Patton back up to 2nd, but 3.5 seconds behind Justin Michael. Still going quicker, but that split has almost evened out at this point.
Will Kirk looking for another podium this season already as well. On fresher tires, not by much, but still fresher than Maul and Lehman here. Couldn't quite get that move made on James Lehman, though. Going to set it up maybe here at another spot.
Talked about drivers that are going to benefit from the drop races starting to come into effect here. We talked about Justin Michael. He's had a big swing of the points of late to get up to 3rd. But Will Kirk is one of those drivers as well, who's run great, always runs great, has some pretty terrible luck most of the time to not get the finishes. But the finishes have been coming of late, and he is having another one inbound here at Kansas Speedway. Whether or not it ends up as a podium, should at least be a top 10 for Kirk as long as he can execute on this final stop. So he is onward and upward in the point standings as well.
Greg Maul starting to fall back a little bit farther. I would imagine Maul going to be down pit road here and probably, I would say he'd have to come down here in a couple, 2, 3, 4 laps. Came down on lap 51, so has ran almost 30 laps on this tank of fuel. He's getting close.
Jack Watts is in 7th. He is coming down pit road this time. So the cycle begins again.
Oh, and Tilton and Gibson were fighting above Watts there as well. That was kind of a hairy situation.
I think Jack Watts had some problems getting onto pit road. I think if it were real NASCAR, he'd have a penalty, but he still made it within the cone, so he's okay.
Here comes James Lehman.
There's James Lehman.
Oh, Lehman slides it down pit road and spins it around. That is going to be pretty much it unless we get a caution to come out for James Lehman.
Whips a 360, a little bit of contact there with the inside pit wall, but that should take him out of the running here for a top 5.
Greg Maul down pit road there as well. Got through clean.
Yeah, I had a good look at that.
But kind of an interesting time to come down pit road. I guess we are at 26 laps to go, so plenty of time. I would imagine we're going to see a plethora of drivers come in, and here comes Gibson, here comes Tilton. I mean, we're getting to the point where they're kind of splitting their last couple of runs in half. Unless they're going to try and run it down a little bit just in case a caution comes out so they have an extra set of tires.
Here's the question. Scott Patton has cut this gap up to 2 seconds. Does he try and beat Justin Michael to pit road now to trigger the undercut and get himself on offense here in the closing laps?
I think it depends on if you've kind of stalled out or not. If you're still making time, I think you probably go for it. But, I mean, at this point, and with the tires, you may have stalled out. Just depends on if that stalling out process has started already or not. Last time around, Patton was still 0.3 of a second faster. This time,
Michael been in some lap traffic, but yeah, Patton is still putting time here on the race leader.
Yeah, that
a lot
time
of
around
drivers. Go ahead.
That time around it was only a 10th, but still making up time.
A lot of drivers have been down and off of pit road. Cleaver, Groover, Schlegel, Schulte, McRoberts, Van, Smith, and Burkhart. Matt Burkhart with a pit road violation will have to come back down. Inside of a 2 3/4 here, Scott Patton.
Here comes Will Kirk down pit road.
That may shake things up a little bit.
Kirk
Depends on if Patton has his eyes only looking forward here, whether he answers to Kirk or waits for a move from Justin Michael.
Well, I would imagine Patton is looking forward, but Kirk is well in line for a podium here after the Lehman slip up there on the pit road.
Pat and Michael bypass pit road once again here, awaiting final stops for the leaders. Justin Michael. Scott Patton still continues to close, even as Michael's getting some help here from the 28 of Chris Voiles, another Bandit teammate.
I know this doesn't come as a surprise at all, but Charlie Widener and Michael Milfelt have not let each other out of their sights pretty much this entire race. Everybody else has split up. These two have stayed together.
That's teammates for you. They always seem to find their way together here on Thursday nights. Patton continues to close little by little. Nearly a 2 1/4 now, even as Michael's basically getting some bump drafting help.
Well, right now, Patton has only ran about 14, 15 laps on this set. So, I mean, he can still go another 5 laps to try and kind of split it down the middle. Justin Michael has a little bit farther, or I guess could come down now. Looks like Patton might be getting caught up a little bit, though.
Patton almost within a second. And I think Michael is coming this time. Yes, here he goes.
Patton going to keep it out on the racetrack. Curious to see if Patton answers the dinner bell a little bit quicker this time.
It was 6 laps last time, if my memory serves me correct. I would imagine he'll be within the next 2. He cut that gap to inside of a second before the Michael pit stop.
Yeah, it really seems like the tires really start to fall off after 20 laps, and we only have 19 to go. So I think Justin Michael was trying to get right to around that 20-lap marker before he came down pit road to try and keep him from getting into that fall-off territory. Patton having some problems here with traffic. That might be all she wrote.
Nah, he was working with Chris Voiles, trying to get that slipstream that Justin Michael was getting there for a while. What's going to make it interesting here is Kerry Cleaver going through, but also if he's trying to get to pit road this time, Voiles will be boxing him out, and then that will be a big problem.
It seems like Patton likes the overcut here. It worked for him last time, and he's saying, why not go for it again?
And he was a 10 1/4 down this time compared to last lap, so he did get a little bit tripped up there by either Cleaver or Voiles. Not sure which one was the prevailing factor there. But every lap is going to count here if you're trying to overcut Justin Michael. The overcut was working, but is it going to work enough? You're going to have enough life left in the tires at the end of it, even if you execute on this pit stop.
Justin Michael has had to work through quite a bit of traffic since coming out of pit road, so will that play a factor in this as well? Surely it's going to have some part.
Still awaiting pit stops from Patton, Milfeld, Widener, Brennan, Gregg as well. The top 4 all ahead of Justin Michael. And here comes Scott Patton. I think Michael was a little bit more aggressive there on pit entry. But we'll find out the true extent of the damage either way.
Around goes Michael to get back on the lead lap now through turns 1 and 2. But where will he cycle out?
Gives the lead to Mike Milfeld. He is coming to pit road this time. I'd imagine Charlie Widener going to come in as well.
Justin Michael with lots of traffic, here in front of him to work through. There you see Scott Patton in the bottom of your screen.
And Michael going to fly on by. But I think this gap is going to be closer than it was.
Definitely closer. It was over 5 seconds last time. It looks like it's about maybe 2.5 this time, somewhere around there. But Justin Michael still trying to work through some traffic that Patton's going to have to get through here as well.
And now Patton getting passed up here by Will Kirk. That is going to be for position.
Andrew Schultzer right here as well. That's for position also. Patton trying to get some heat into those tires.
Schultz a pit earlier, but still going to be a thorn in the side of Scott Patton, trying to track down the battle for what will be the lead. It's about 4 seconds from Michael back to Will Kirk now, who has inherited what will be the second position. Still waiting on pit stops from Charlie Widener and Brennan Gregg to make it official. Justin Michael sits in third.
Scott Patton kind of forced her on the top side here, but seems to be losing some ground.
Yeah, Patton is in a bad way here. Schultz on much older tires. One of the first drivers to pit under this cycle.
Almost seemed like Patton was kind of in the catbird seat there a little bit, but all of a sudden it's gotten flipped on its head.
Michael with what is currently, or what will be at least, nearly a 4-second lead over Heath Smith. But now here comes Will Kirk to take that position over. Kirk with an inch to spare in front of the one truck. Charlie Widener will give up the lead this time. Patton working underneath of Greg Mall now. Or rather trying to defend against Greg Mall. I wonder if Patton didn't take tires on accident or something, because he is, I mean, just getting used up here.
Yeah, he's going backwards in a hurry, and you might be right. He may have unchecked his tires at some point and didn't check them back.
Well, I've had
surely going backwards.
I've had it happen before where I've had the tires checked and they just didn't give it to him. Give it to me for whatever reason. So
I do remember that happening to Scott Patton at one point in the last year as well, or excuse me, happening to Justin Michael in the last year as well. I don't remember what race that was, but I think it may have happened to Nathan Reynolds.
It happened to Nathan Reynolds here at Kansas, I believe.
Maybe a Kansas problem.
Maybe a Kansas problem.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is bizarre. I mean, that's I guess grasping at straws at this point because really, like you said, Patton was in a position, a good one. Unless he picked up some damage that we missed somewhere that has been detrimental to this truck, Patton is out of this.
Yeah,
Will Kirk is in a good spot, though, to come away with second, not picking up any time on the race leader, though.
Yeah, it had to be some sort of an issue with the tires not being put on, because there's just absolutely no reason that Patton should be falling as far as he is. Andrew Schultz or Greg Mall, closest battle on the racetrack here. This is for fourth.
I think Game of Cones was last night, Good Leaf.
There were certainly a lot of cones on that bike layout, aren't there?
It's no Auto Club competition circuit, but it certainly does have quite a few cones. Mall with a brush of the wall there, but still hanging tight with the current points leader, the reigning series champ, Andrew Schulte, who we really haven't called out all that much here tonight. Was down outside of the top 10 here before this pit cycle, but has done a nice job to move himself back into the mix.
Pretty heated battle that happened between Milfelt, Gibson, and Watts. It looked like Gibson and Watts may have made contact there on entry into 3 as well.
Yeah, they have been slugging it out here the last couple of laps. Thought maybe we were going to get a right hook there, and maybe we'll get a left hook here.
Milfelt on much fresher tires just scoots right on by him.
Justin Michael with a 6-second lead here with just a few laps to go. I'm sure he'll have the scoop on what has happened to Scott Patton. Patton, the only driver in the top 10 in the 32-second bracket right now. I think that tells you all you need to hear. But running in the 7th position.
Have to believe that a similar situation that happened to Nathan Reynolds probably happened to Patton there. That is just such an odd thing to happen at this track twice.
Yeah. Two laps to go for Justin Michael, who is back to Justin Michael form, I would say.
I guess you could say that after a string of bad luck, going 3 for 4. That's a rebound right there.
Definitely. But a mile and a half to make it official here for the 87. Justin Michael through turns 3 and 4 is going to make it 2 in a row with the Max Feed CNC Home Design Truck Series. And Justin Michael goes 2 for 2 at Kansas Speedway. Will Kirk podium number 3 on the season. And how about Heath Smith back on the podium here as well? Smith in 3rd holds off Andrew Schultze. Greg Mall will round out your top 5. And Scott Patton, a disastrous P7. I'm sure Michael will have the scoop on what has happened to driver number 46. But the fireworks are going off here in the Valley of the Hollywood Casino. It's Justin Michael getting ready to make the burnouts, make these rear tires sing once again.
Oh, we're really gonna burn them down here. We are gonna run this baby dry.
Burn up that TRD power plant, brother. You earned it here tonight. There it
There
goes.
she goes.
All reliable. And boy, it seems like every time that we count him out, of course, a couple of times this season we've counted him out, and he was out. But, I mean, it looked pretty dire at one point when he tried to flip the stage early, dropped back to 14th place before coming in. Ended up pretty good in the stage, and I'd say he ended up pretty good in the finishing order here as well, as he's going to take his 3rd win of the season. That is his 6th overall victory here post-revival in the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series. We'll talk to Justin Michael Wilkirk and Heath Smith momentarily. They take the gold, silver, and bronze tonight. Andrew Schulte back at the top 5. Greg Mall with a nice 18th to 5th run as well. 6th place to Riley Tilton. Nice job for driver number 58 tonight. Scott Patton in 7th place. I'm sure he'll be disappointed with that. Hard charger of the night, Matt Sisler started shotgun on the field here. He takes home a hard-fought P8. Driver number 93. Mike Milfelt with the 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Jacob Gibson in truck number 19. Jack Watts will take home Layman's Mega Money Mania here tonight with an 11th place finish. Matt Montabot will finish in P12. Charlie Widener then in 13th. Kerry Cleaver, the last driver on the lead lap there. Justin Michael led him by in the final lap. So the boss man will finish in P14. Bill Paradise in 15th. Ryan McRoberts in 16th. Zachary Groover then in 17th. Michael Van in 18th. I'm sure a disappointing P19 for Brennan Gregg here tonight. Brad Slagle will round out your top 20. Frank Reese in 21st, another disappointing 22nd for James Lehman after the spin there on pit road. Matt Burkhart, Wally Turheimer, and Kyle Manos through the top 25. Chris Sargent will finish in 26. Chris Voiles with a pit road speeding penalty will move him down to the 27th, and a DNF there after the botched pit strategy in the stage. Matt Schlosser will clock his first career DNF with the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series, and a DNS tonight from Johnny Hamby with problems with the internet there on the pace laps to open this one up. It's time to talk to your podium finishers, and it's always a great day when we get to talk to driver number 1. He's the number 1 driver, and he's Heath Smith back at Booth 200. Welcome back, partner. Congrats.
Well, thank you.
This was an interesting race all around. Strategy place, drivers were all over the place, banging into each other. And the lines migrated all over the place. I mean, what about a night like this tonight at Kansas?
Oh, it was crazy, man. The first stage, everybody was kind of short on fuel, and I don't know how in the hell I was able to pull that out and win the stage there in the first one. I ran out of fuel actually coming on pit road. If the caution would have come out 5 seconds later or 10 seconds later, and we'd had to go around and catch the pace truck, I would have been in big trouble. And I don't know how I saved that much, but I was able to do that. So getting the stage break or the stage win was pretty big. And then after that, I pushed too hard on the second run there, and I killed my right front. I wish I'd have just let those guys go. I lost a lot of time on the second one, and then I took 2 on my last pit stop to make up a little ground and was able to bring it home 3rd.
Well, that took my next question. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, congrats on the podium here. And yeah, I mean, track position on those restarts, very, very important. I mean, it seemed like everybody was pushing for all they had after the stage break. I mean, that pack in the top 12 or so after the stage break was just absolutely bonkers. I guess to me it was kind of hard not to push too hard there, just because it felt like everybody was going all out.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't do a great job at it. I wanted to be on the bottom of the track in both corners, and being on the bottom, being pinched down, I just killed the right front tire. But yeah, that was that was crazy. The track temp was probably the coolest track we've had all season, and you could just pretty much run all out and get what you could out of your tires, and they would last for a pretty good bit. But you had to save a little there at the end, or it would cost you a lot. The last 5 or 10 laps of a run. So, but yeah, the second stage was absolutely crazy. That was some great racing.
Well, it's always a great night when we get to talk to you here back in Booth 200. Congrats to you. I know you got people you want to shout out, so we'll leave you to it here.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Kerry Cleaver at CNC Home Designs for being the main sponsor of the league, and then of course all the league admins for giving us a place to race on Thursday nights and doing everything they do, and then Highline Racing, Johnny, Charlie, Mike. We've been clicking away at it, trying to put all the pieces together. We're slowly but surely getting a little better each race, and it's working out pretty good for us. And then, of course, I always speak of Highline, but I got to thank some of the Bandit guys too. We run several other leagues, and we kind of join teams and listen to those guys on the Discord and how they run races. That's helped me a ton over the last couple weeks, months, whatever it's been, and just having a blast, man, and looking forward to the rest of the season. And thank you guys for what you're doing at Turn 200. My boys, my wife, everybody, myself, enjoy watching the races back and getting a kick out of them, and you do an amazing job at it. So thank you. And then, of course, Scott Patton for Patton and Paints at putting this awesome Oregon truck together for me.
Well, we appreciate you, partner. We'll hopefully talk to you again next week in Darlington.
I hope so. Thank you, guys.
Well, we're talking to this man quite a bit of late. This is the third podium in 5 weeks here for Will Kirk, who is racking them and stacking them. A nice P2 run here tonight. Congrats.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been a good run.
Yeah, good run turned great run all of a sudden here tonight. I mean, you didn't hardly lead the top 5 all night long, mixing it up for the lead, for the podium places. But, I mean, problems with Scott Patton there. You were already on for a podium, but the problems there with Patton and able to get past Heath Smith and Greg Mall late in the run-in, it puts you in a nice spot here to take the silver.
Yeah, I don't know quite what happened to him, which him kind of being slow did help me a bit making those passes. But, I mean, I was flying up on those guys because I was going to pit 90, and then I saw them pitting 80, and I was like, I'll cut the difference. I didn't think 5-lap newer tires would make that big of a difference, but I cut 2.5 seconds out of Greg and Heath in like 3 laps. And then also, I don't know what happened to Scott, but that issue helped a bit. But tires were, I didn't realize it until the very end, but tires were the game changer for sure.
Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, congrats on another podium. I know that you and I kind of talked about momentum going into Talladega after, one of your other podiums earlier this season. But it seems like you have all the confidence in the world right now. How does it feel going out there and feeling like you can run in the top 3 pretty much every week?
Yeah, ever since I did this hardware upgrade, it's definitely increased the speed. But I think a lot of our problems last season was luck. This might be embarrassing. I counted it. I got wrecked 16 times in, I think, 15 weeks. So knock on wood, please knock on wood, that this streak of not getting taken out every single week continues, because we have gotten better on speed, more practice, better hardware, but the horrendous luck of last year and the very early part of this season has thankfully subsided. So I think that's been a big key factor, but also just tips from James, who's awesome in practice.
I didn't have the hard numbers there, but it certainly felt like a luck thing last season between you and Charlie Widener. I think you could start a bad luck empire that took over the globe. But hopefully you're both past that. It looks like you're definitely past that here. Rocking and rolling. Third podium of the season here. Nice job again here tonight. People you want to shout out and thank here?
Yeah, just all the admins, James putting this on, everyone that watches, my mom and my Aunt Marilyn, per usual, and then you guys for putting on a great show. I run a couple other leagues, and every week my mom and Aunt Marilyn are like, I like the Thursday night crew a lot better. So you guys are killing it, not just in my opinion, but in the people watching. So keep up the awesome work.
Hey, we like them too. Shout out to Michelle and Marilyn as always. But shout out to you as well. Hopefully many more interviews to come here. But go celebrate another hard-fought podium.
Sounds good, buddy. Thank you.
And we'll pull in your race winner here for the third time this season. 2 in a row, 3 out of the last 5 to the man up top here tonight, Justin Michael, back to victory lane here at Kansas Speedway. Welcome back, partner.
Appreciate it, guys. Just get a good run of tracks that I really like.
Well, I mean, that's all it takes to really get it going. I mean, for you here tonight, you scared us a little bit. We know you usually like to drop back, but boy, you found yourself in the hornet's nest early trying to flip that stage, drop back as far as 14th before you make the move to pit road. I mean, it's a gutsy decision, especially with how hard everybody's racing there at the start of this one.
Well, I was trying to save. Thought I could make it. And then we got to I run the pit about 5 laps before that. I wanted to sneak in, but I couldn't get anybody to not be behind me. So when I realized I couldn't make it, I just kept looking in my mirror, and finally I got a spot where I could slow down and not have to call it out to everybody to know that I was pitting. So I snuck in there, and I was hoping the leaders wouldn't notice, but I guess it wouldn't matter when they drove past me when I was going down the backstretch.
And Matt mentioned it talking to Heath a little bit earlier, but I mean and Kansas isn't the only place that is like this when you go to the mile and a halfs. But I mean, the energy in that pack is frenetic to open up this race, to open up the restarts. I mean, at what point obviously it happens at some point, but at what point do you flip the switch from I am in full chaos energy mode right now to like, I need to save my right front tire because I probably just killed it?
Well, after that, after the stage, it was actually opposite. I saved there for about 5 laps just to let everybody else burn their right front off, and then I started throwing it on the bottom. I was able to get past everybody, and I was surprised. I threw it in 3 wide on the bottom into 1, and it stuck, and I didn't lift. So I was okay. Well, I'm just going to keep doing this. So I held it wide open on the bottom the entire run. Maybe I had to crack the throttle towards the end, but I was surprised how good it stuck.
Matt, what do you got here for the race winner?
Yeah, congrats on the race win, and obviously it wasn't able to come to fruition for Scott, but he caught you at a pretty good clip going for the overcut. Were you at all worried about him being able to get to you on the overcut there at the end? He had about 5 or 6 laps fresher tires on you there. It seemed he was going to. I'm not sure what happened to him, but it seemed like that was going to be a pretty good fight there at the end.
It might have been. I don't know. Though, if my math was right, when I pitted there, if he would have pitted, he didn't take tires. They were turned off by accident. But if he would have took tires, I don't know. I think I would have been able to stay out in front because he would only had about 2 laps. I think he pitted after me. He only had 2 laps fresher tires, and I would have had about a 3-second gap, maybe 4-second. I don't think he would have caught me.
Well, I would have liked to find out for sure, and that's kind of what we figured had happened. It seems to be a Kansas Speedway thing. Maybe we need to send that in to get looked at because that's the second or third time that's happened here on the channel at Kansas that somebody's had them checked and they didn't go on the car. So regardless here tonight, I mean, whether it was a great battle or a 7-second victory for you, it's a win all the same. Congratulations to you. You're racking them and stacking them here of late. Shout outs for you here tonight.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. We just love you guys calling the races, James for putting on the leg, and all the guys over at the Bandit team. Oh, good, I can't talk. Good group of guys to run with, and this is a really clean race. I loved it. Usually you get some cautions here because everybody's stuck on the high side, but it was pretty different this time, so I'm glad. But yeah, we appreciate everybody watching. Hopefully we'll be back up here next week.
Yep, Darlington next week. I don't know if we've ever seen you at Darlington before here. How do you feel about it?
I like Darlington a lot. Scott's real good there. I think Andrew's really good there. So it'll be a tough battle. Just whoever can save the tires the most, and maybe even some pit strategy. I haven't looked at the laps yet and the fuel, so maybe we'll have to pull some fuel strategy out too.
Alrighty, a lot to look forward to next week at the Lady in Black. But Justin Michael will take the win here tonight. And before I could say goodbye, he's already left the broadcast booth. So congrats to Justin Michael here tonight. Felt good to get the boys back together here on Turn 200. Matt, what do you say about putting a wrap on Kansas tonight?
Yeah, great stuff. I think we expected big things from here. We've seen a lot of good races in the trucks, from the Venom to these folks as well. And it delivered, but honestly on a little bit of a different level. Everybody kind of alluded to it tonight that we've talked to, that maybe wasn't exactly what they were expecting. I think maybe the really cool track temperature might have had something to do with that as well. But just spectacular stuff. I have never seen anything like the first 40 or 50 laps of this race with that first stage and then the restart after the stage. That was just absolute wildness right there.
Absolute wildness here, and that's what we love about Kansas Speedway. It's a little bit locked down sometimes on these mile and a halves, but not here. They absolutely know how to get after it. Many thanks to everybody that came out to race here tonight with the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series. And thanks for everybody that was hanging out with us as well, Mr. Matt Williamson.
Yeah, thanks to everybody that was chatting here with us. Of course, a lot of the usual suspects. Michelle Kirk, Goodleaf, Sarah cheering on Riley, Kyle Zittle in the chat as well. Love that from Kyle Zittle, and Marilyn cheering on Will Kirk as well. Thank you guys for tuning in, chatting with us pretty much every night of the week at this point. We got a lot of the regulars in here all of the time, so very much appreciate that support and hope you enjoyed the racing. And we will see you later on down the road. Next stream is going to be on Sunday.
Absolutely, Sunday afternoon. It's a 2-for for you. It's 2-for-1 with the Mission R Challenge, or rather the Porsche Mission R. Of course, the top split strength of field broadcast for the Mission R Challenge rolls into the Charlotte Roval Long for the second season in a row. We'll see if JJ Wayne keeps the Roval Master title going on Sunday afternoon. But regardless of that, we will be racing on the Charlotte Oval as well with Mission O immediately following that. That doubleheader will kick off at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. ASRL Sports Car Championship action next Wednesday night from Road America, kicking off at 8 o'clock 15 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we'll be back here at the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series from Darlington for the first time in series history, at least post-revival, here at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time next Thursday night. That is what we got for you between now and then. Actually, did we ever officially date the Tuesday show?
I was actually messaging Matt during the broadcast here tonight. There has been no official announcement, but it sounds like we are going to be live on Tuesday for the, I don't know what it's going to end up being called, but basically the Nate Siefker charity race.
So, Nate Siefker charity race, last I heard, and this is all very fluid, of course, the best way to keep up with the news in real time is to come join our Discord server, and also to hit subscribe and hit the bell as well to get notified when we'll go live with that race on Tuesday. The last I heard, this was IR18s at the Iowa Roval. Is that still the plan here? Because that is going to be interesting, to say the least, which is the way that Nate would want it.
Yeah, I haven't heard a car track combo at all. Didn't see any talk about that, but I'm sure they're cooking up something special.
Well, if it ends up being that, it is definitely going to be special. But we'll get official word here, and hopefully we'll be live sometime at a decent time for you on Tuesday night for a charity race for our good friend Nate Siefker, who was just involved in a pretty horrendous accident while vacationing in Colorado. So he is home, resting comfortably. That is the best news that we can share with you. And he was hanging out in stream last night as well with Matt Williamson in the chat. So, yes, all the best to Nate Siefker in his continued long road to recovery here, but things are on the up and up, so that's always what we like to hear. So, yes, keep your eyes peeled for some Tuesday night action in some charity stream racing here on Tuesday night. Lots going on here at Turn 200. If you haven't subscribed already, do so. On your way out of the stream here tonight, hit like as well while you're down there. Every little bit is going to help us in our climb to get to 1,000 subscribers. We'll have some good stuff coming up for you, non-stream content related wise as well here within the next week or so. That's all we got for you here tonight. Thank you to CNC Home Designs. If you're looking for a custom home built to your standards in Central Florida, call up Kerry Cleaver to get the dream home for you built wherever you are in Florida. Thank you to Kerry Cleaver for his continued support of the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series. Thank you to everybody with the Maximum Velocity Racing League. Thank you to the admin team. Thank you to James Lehman. And yes, thank you to the GOAT, the one and only Mr. Matt Williamson, for holding the fort here while I've been in and out, dealing with some personal life stuff. All good stuff, I assure you. But appreciate it, partner. And appreciate everybody that was hanging out with us here tonight. Until we all meet again, I am Tommy Cook saying so long from Kansas Speedway, and congratulations to Justin Michael on win number 3 on the season. This has been a live broadcast on Turn 200. Be sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of when we go live next. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.